Thank you so much, Elle, for having me on your podcast today. I'm really honored to be here and finally be here, as you mentioned. So my name is Kpana Poto. I'm a parent of two children. I'm married. I live in the Bronx in New York City. And my son is 13 years old. My daughter is 4. So, it's been an interesting journey with the two of them because for the longest while it was just us and our son, and then our daughter came along, and the whole family dynamic changed. But I really think that it changed for the better. So my son is on the autism spectrum. He was diagnosed at 4 years old. And it's been a journey because I went from not knowing anything about autism to be all up in the autism community. I work at a disability nonprofit here in New York City where I provide technical assistance for families of children with disabilities, including autism. I'm a manager for parent and family engagement on our early childhood team. I am also the co-founder of a nonprofit called the Bronx Parents Autism Support Circle. It was started by me and two other moms who also have children with autism. And we've been around since 2013. So we've been having our support group meetings and been providing support for families of children with autism right here in the Bronx. And I'm also a content creator at my blog, Sailing Autistic Seas, which I started a couple of months after my son was diagnosed with autism. Because back then I didn't know anyone else who had a child on the spectrum. And so I decided to build my own village and I started the blog, and everything else just kind of flowed from there. So I'm
I
really
think
glad to
that's
be here.
something that we have in common. I started my blog because I needed a community.
Yes.
And it sounds like that's exactly why you started yours. And
Yes.
so many things blossom from the need of, a lot of times when we want a community ourselves, we tend to create a space for other people to learn information and also connect. And so I find that blogging often is a segue to other things.
Yes. It really is. It really is. I can definitely relate to that.
Yes, it has been just such an honor to see you on your different pages sharing about what autism looks like. And I know that there are so many families who are interested in learning, that everything is going to be all right. I think that's really at the heart of what families are trying to find out. Sometimes when they get the autistic diagnosis, it's kind of like, they don't know. They're like, well, what's next? And there can be a lot of fears around that. Can you kind of share how the diagnosis was provided to you, and kind of what some of those early signs were?
Yeah, so for us, it all started with speech. So speech is one of those things that parents tend to notice. Like, it's easy to tell, is my child speaking or not, right? So when my son was 2 years old, I remember I went to his pediatrician. He had a visit at his pediatrician, and she kept asking us, does he have any words? She was asking questions about his development. Is he saying anything? And all my answers were always no. So he did a lot of babbling back then, but he wasn't speaking. Like, I wasn't able to get words out of him. And so the pediatrician told us to make a referral for him to early intervention. So we referred him to early intervention. I remember being at a meeting, and I remember being told he may be the A word, right? But nobody used the word autism. And I didn't really know where to go from there. The only time I had ever heard of the quote unquote A word was I was watching Larry King, and this is like way back, right? This was like, 2009, I would say. I was watching Larry King, and he had Jenny McCarthy on. And I know she's a controversial person when it comes to the autism community. But back then she was talking about her son who was on the autism spectrum. And that was the only time I had heard about autism.